So again, what are the advantages of consultative status? Okay, well again, you get to go into the UN ground. So we get to enter the building, you get to enter events, you get to do events, you get to talk to diplomats that are there, you get to talk to ambassadors, you get to talk to special procedures, you get to know all the individuals. And of course, it's much easier when you build a relationship with someone to ask them for an event, or to know what funding opportunity, or to know what new mechanisms there are there, because it's a simple conversation versus basically being one of thousands that are sending emails and getting your voice lost in an email. It's a huge advantage. And of course, there's also an increased exposure as far as getting a much larger audience in all of this. So this is also very important. You get to connect with other NGOs, you can collaborate, makes things easier, and of course, access to information and important resources. Some of the very, very interesting life experience, right? So like half the battle is being there. So you get to know about things that others don't get to know right away or don't have access to. So now let's do a comparison for the entire South to include Mauritania, just to see again the years and the patterns that have come through. Again, almost nothing to all of a sudden. You really again see it from 2013, and the reason I say from 2013 starts to go is because this process takes about a year to occur. So you apply, you get it about a year later, because there's only, I believe they only do it a few times a year. It's not complete. So the way it works is there is a committee, and the committee, every time there's 19, for example, countries represented within that committee. And this is again why the politics, they get to decide who's going to have ECOSOC. They can also take it away, which you see certain countries do, which I will show you examples which certain countries do. So again, you could see Algeria, and all around Algeria, look at Mauritania, it's not like, it's like hardly anything. Then like I said, when something happened 2013, all of a sudden everybody wants to get so many organizations. And one more time, these are the years where everyone was having issues. Well, everyone, but the majority having issues getting ECOSOC. But it didn't seem to be a problem for all countries around Algeria. Very interesting. And you could see over here 6, 7, 2, 4, 9. And again, did this result in more advocacy for Mauritania, a better situation for Mauritania? No, but less of a focus on an international platform. So now you start to see, again, the international platform is a different dynamic for advocacy. You cannot think of the nation's government as an enemy, if you will. You are in opposition in the sense that you always bring up injustice and you want to ensure that there is justice, but they are not your nemesis. In fact, in many times, there is a need for alliance, because the reality is you are protecting the nation. Okay, so again, we're going to break down. So what occurred? Well, Algeria has basically only 4 NGOs with ECOSOC status, okay? And that really only accounts for 1.9, okay, in North Africa, and all the countries to include Chad, Mali, and all the countries listed before. So Libya has 8. Okay, and again, that Libya has had an unsteady situation, and they have 8. Tunis has had 16, and Tunis is very small. Their situation is quite significant. Again, they've had for quite some time on about estimated 60% pretrial detention. Yet they managed to get 16. Morocco with 30. Morocco actually has a very, very heavy, strong presence in the UN. Even when it comes to employees, they have double the rate that Algeria does. They give a lot of funding to the UN. I believe they are 3rd Arab nation and the 1st African nation when it comes to funding. So they do have a lot of influence in the UN. Niger 11, Mali 22, Mauritania 37, Egypt 32. So you can quite see these organizations do serve, of course, to improve vocalization at some point of human rights, but the reality is they also work to protect their nation. And okay, for example, there is an obvious, as you will see even later on when I'll show you a different diagram, is a ridiculous increase around a certain time for everyone. But Egypt, for example, is not really that scenario. Egypt has had the oldest, actually, ECOSOC in the region. And Egypt has had a steady growth. Egypt did not have the all of a sudden increase that Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Tunis. And again, this just an inference, but the reality is all of these countries are all around Algeria. Every single border is encompassed by all of these countries who all of a sudden escalated out of the blue. And again, for example, Egypt has had organizations since 1971, and it has had a growth. So with Egypt, it's not really that puzzling. They've always had. But with the others, for example, Tunisia had only 4 organizations of ECOSOC until 2016. Then by 2022, even 9 by 2022, all of a sudden in 2021, it jumps to 16. And remember, and I will show you next, this is when everyone was having trouble getting ECOSOC. This is very interesting. And Mali had 7 by 2014 and 222 in 2021. So again, all these years to all of a sudden this hike. Because these organizations not only have to clear, not only have to get sponsored by their nation, but other nations have to let them, other nations in the committee have to basically permit. So you can see it's not an easy task, okay? And Morocco had basically 15 by 2014, and then a sudden doubling of their numbers. And I could see around which time, it's around 2014. So really, when did they do the application? They did the application by 2013, because it's a year before. So again, you will see that year over and over again being mentioned. And over here, again, NGOs, very large. For example, Mauritania had 5 organizations by 2013, and you can see it here. And again, all of a sudden, after 2013, they only had 5, they jumped to 28 by 2019, and then 37 by 2021. Now, has this improved the situation in Mauritania? Not really, right? But quite evidently, again, very, very interesting. Chad, for example, did not have any organization of the sort until 2015. All of a sudden, they jumped, which means their application went through in 2013, 2014. Again, similar year. Interesting. All right, one more time again, we talk about Mali and Niger. Take a look at the patterns, and Algeria still none. Now this is a twofold, okay? One, as Algerian organizations, we need to understand these ins and outs. But the other concept, and the realistic concept, is the government has to sponsor. And that's another important concept that we're going to get to. And again, they may seem like opposition, but what both civil society and the government has to understand, that we are not opposition to each other on the international platform. We serve the same purpose.